Hi, my name is Hudson Nakamura. We did an inverted vitrectomy at the Eye Bank Foundation in Goiania, Brazil, and the patient had this cataract with retinal detachment seen by ultrasound, and we decided to go over doing vitrectomy, phaco vitrectomy, and it was a quite hard case because during the anterior segment surgery, the capsule looked a little plastic, and but things were going very well. But in the meantime, the pressure got raised, and we had to do this intratemporal sclerotomy to relieve some pressure. And by doing that, as you see, the pupil is kind of dislodged, and we removed some visco, and we arranged the pupil in this proper fashion. And while doing the phaco, some nuclei dropped, and we decided to go straight to the retina and doing the vitrectomy afterwards. And actually, we were not so worried about the anterior segment. We were worried about the retina. We had this, we were still trying to remove the lens, but it was not possible. But not a very large piece of lens remained, so everything was inside, and we did a vitrectomy. And first we did curve vitrectomy, and we could look at the retina. It was so folded with severe PVR. But the first step was to perform this lens removal. During the cutter, we had to be extra careful because the retina was so anterior, and we had to remove these fragments, and that went well. And after doing the lens removal, we did not use the fragmenton, but we used the cutter itself. We just slowed the cutter speed and increased the aspiration rate to 400, and that went well. And by the time we cleaned up vitreous, both central and peripherally, we did this retinotomy. We could not grasp much of the epiretinal membranes because the PVR was intraretinal, so we did 360 retinotomy without a problem, and the retina shortened quite a bit. Here we can you can see we're removing the very periphery of the retina, and the retina was quite mobile, even though it looked whitish. And at the end of this step, we could see the retina kind of a funnel type, and we cleaned it up as much as we could, the periphery, and some parts we trimmed the retina, and afterwards we started the Perfluorocarbon liquid, PFO, to flatten the retina, and it looked a lot better. So we got some bubbles that we had to remove at the end of the case, but after inserting the perfluorocarbon, we decided to remove a little bit. The patient was still aphakic, and by touching with the tip of the cannula, we could get away with bubbles without a problem with the backflash cannula. And here we could put a little more perfluorocarbon to flatten the retina up to the periphery to ease the direct exchange of perfluorocarbon to silicone oil that we prepared. and we used the quadraspheric lens, contact lens from Volk, as you can see it. And now doing the laser, with the laser, we could see that the retina edges were flattened, so we could end up the case without a problem. There was something folded up there, and we just messaged the retina, and we did like 3 rows of laser, 360 degrees, to get it flattened all the way. And you cannot see here the edges of the PFO because they were up to the ora serrata. By planning this 360 laser, and if there were not enough PFC, which was not the case, we could put a little more, but we had PFO up to the edges, up to the ora serrata, and now here we are doing the direct exchange by removing, you see the tip of the back flush cannula, we are removing the PFO while the assistant is injecting the silicone oil. And you see the meniscus, and you see the edges of the PFO, and coming out through the back flush cannula here, and we are removing now completely the perfluorocarbon liquid, and the retina remained attached all the time. And that was cool because even though you see some folds flattened there, here nasal to the optic nerve, that could not affect much the retina, even though the retina was whitish anyways. And we decided to remove some bubbles and some silicone oil in the anterior chamber. We could do that easily with a simple maneuver, but because we are preparing to insert intraocular lens, some of the silicone oil came to the anterior chamber, but that was not a problem because we could easily remove the silicone oil as well with now we are inserting here viscous, and after we inserted the lens, intraocular lens, and we did that in the sulcus, we could see some more oil coming up. That was easily removed by the same technique, so that was not a big problem for us. And the eye at this time looked quite soft, so retina attached, no leaks, no silicone oil leaving the eye or leaking, whatever. And as you see, the 23 gauge was cool. At this time we removed to do the anterior segment part, and now we're inserting the intraocular lens. After we did that, you could notice that some silicone oil was in the anterior chamber and more came up, but as I said, we could get away with that with cleaning the anterior chamber in an easy technique. Now that was done without much difficulty. And now here, during the last part of surgery, you see the intraocular lens very well placed, and we removed some small bubbles of silicone oil, and that was great. Up to the end of the case, things were okay, and we only used some stitches in the anterior segment, and the nylon suture in the anterior chamber. And because we used silicone oil, I like using Vicryl 7.0 to close up the sclerotomies, and that was the end of the case.